When the universe chooses you, the enemy chooses war. They are not sending distractions by accident. They are not stirring confusion just for the chaos. They are doing it because they are scared, terrified, because something is coming for you, something massive, and they can feel it in your energy before it even touches the physical. That is why they have been ramping up the noise, the tension, the illusions. They know what is ahead for you, and they will do whatever it takes to throw you off before you get there. But here is the truth. It will not work. They cannot stop what is already written. Before we go further, like this message and subscribe. If you are hearing this, it is because the universe wants your focus back. When you engage, you help send this message to other chosen ones who are being spiritually attacked through distractions, delays, and emotional warfare. You tell the algorithm that truth matters more than illusion. Comment the number 77. If the attacks have been louder lately, if your peace has felt invaded, and if your clarity has been under fire. That means the breakthrough is near, and the enemy knows it. You feel it, don't you? That pressure building, that strange sense of both tension and anticipation. It is the weight of something that is almost here. Something divine, something big, something that cannot be explained but must be protected. You were selected for a purpose that most people cannot understand. And because they don't understand it, they fear it. And because they fear it, they try to disrupt it. You are not paranoid. This is warfare. And the battlefield is your mind, your time, your focus. They are not trying to destroy you outright. They are trying to distract you just enough that you miss the moment, the blessing that has got your name on it. It is not just close. It is already en route. The only tactic left is to shake your energy, twist your priorities, flood your space with chaos, so that when your opportunity knocks, you are too drained or too distracted to answer. But hear this. You are not ordinary. The power that was placed inside, you cannot be mimicked, borrowed, or stolen. It is yours by design. That is why they watch you. That is why they imitate you but never measure up. That is why they come close with smiles, but carry daggers in their energy. Your light exposes every lie, and your presence disrupts every fake system they depend on to feel strong. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. Your energy speaks first. This is why you have been under fire. Not because you are weak, but because you are too powerful to be left alone. They see what is written in your energy field, and it terrifies them. They would rather have you doubting your purpose than walking in it. They would rather have you chasing noise than aligning with truth. Because when a chosen one steps into full awareness, when you finally lock in, everything around you changes, their control shatters, their illusions collapse. And the blessing that was delayed becomes a flood they cannot hold back. So no, you are not crazy. No, you are not imagining things, and no, you are not alone. You have been marked by the universe, and your blessing is protected. But the closer it gets, the harder they will try to shake you. Do not fall for the bait. Don't get caught in petty drama, emotional traps, or fake emergencies. This is the final distraction before the shift you have been chosen. And that truth haunts them. Now it is time to act like it. If the enemy's been turning up the volume lately, if distractions, fake friends, confusion, and sudden chaos have been showing up like clockwork, you already know why. That is not random, that is targeted. They are trying to throw you off just long enough to block the blessing that is already moving in your direction. But they have failed. You are still here. You are still aware. Now let the universe know you are locked back in. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you are done letting distractions decide your future. Like and subscribe, because this message isn't just yours. It is a lifeline for every chosen one they are trying to silence. And now, let's dive in, step by step. If you are truly chosen, you will feel the pull to stay. The more they try to distract you, the more you need to double down. Focus is power. Let's get into it. Number 1. They plot when the universe prepares. Every time the universe aligns something powerful for you, the enemy panics like a coward in the dark. They don't move until the power moves. They don't strike until the energy shifts. The moment the universe begins preparing something for your elevation, that is when the enemy starts organizing their attack. They can sense it before you even do. You are still second-guessing yourself, still wondering if you are crazy for feeling a change in the atmosphere, and they are already scrambling to build distractions, chaos and traps to throw you off before you rise. That is how much your power shakes them. Let's be clear. They don't plot on people going nowhere. They don't waste time on the average. They only start panicking when a chosen one is about to step into alignment. And right now, that chosen one is you. If you are feeling the pressure, the confusion, the sudden weight of random attacks from every angle, it is because something massive is being put together in your favor. They have already seen the setup, and because they cannot stop what is coming, they are doing the next best thing, trying to stop you from being ready for it. This is why the warfare always intensifies before your biggest moments. This is why betrayal shows up out of nowhere. Why the people closest to you start moving strange. Why things you thought were stable start falling apart. That is not chaos. That is strategy. They need you distracted right when the door is about to open, because the enemy knows what you are about to walk into, and it scares the hell out of them. When the universe chooses you, it doesn't announce it on a loudspeaker, but the energy shifts, and the ones who feed off darkness can feel it. Your presence starts to disturb spaces you used to blend into. Your silence becomes threatening. Your very existence becomes a mirror, showing people everything they are not. And that is when the plots begin. Not because you have done something wrong, but because your light exposes every lie they live by. So what do? They show up masked as friends, but speak like saboteurs. They create emotional messes to drain your energy. They try to resurrect the old you through triggers, hoping to keep you looping in cycles you already outgrew. They don't need to attack your body, they just want your mind. Because if they can convince you to believe the lie before the blessing arrives, you will never claim what is already yours. This is deeper than opposition. It is orchestration. The enemy doesn't guess. They study, they analyze your patterns, your habits, your weaknesses, and they use that data to plan the most subtle sabotage possible. You think it is a coincidence that you get hit hardest when you finally commit to changing your life. You think it is random that the biggest betrayal came right after you chose to walk away from what was draining you. That was timed, that was planned, and it was proof that your alignment is dangerous. Look at history. Every major figure who carried something powerful had to face the plot before the platform. They didn't wait until Jesus was preaching to try and stop him. They came for him the moment he was born. Malcolm X wasn't targeted when he was wild and lost. The pressure came when he found clarity and purpose. Martin Luther King Jr. was allowed to live in peace until he began shaking systems. The plot begins when your power becomes visible, and your power becomes visible the moment you begin aligning with the truth of who you are. That is where you are right now. On the edge of visibility, on the edge of a shift so big it makes your enemies restless in their spirit. They feel it before you do. That is why you have been under fire lately. That is why it has been hard to focus. That is why confusion, frustration, and isolation have been tagging along every step of your journey lately. They are not attacking the version of you that is here now. They are attacking the version that is about to be revealed. And I know what you might be thinking. Why me? Because you were built for this. The universe doesn't invest this kind of pressure into someone who doesn't carry something generational. You weren't chosen to coast through life unnoticed. You were chosen to disrupt, to shift, to awaken people just by being you. That kind of presence doesn't go unchallenged. Or maybe you are wondering, if I am chosen, why does this feel so hard? That is the trick. That is how they try to convince you to turn around. The closer you get to what is yours, the more it will feel like everything is falling apart. Because pressure is a signal. Pressure means the blessing is no longer coming. It is arriving. They want you so focused on what is crumbling that you miss what is being built for you on the other side. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are carrying something the world needs, and the enemy knows it. Your clarity, your purpose, your elevation. It is a threat to every system that thrives off fear and confusion. You becoming who you are meant to be is their downfall. And that is why they plot, not to win, but to delay you long enough to miss what is already aligned. But here is the truth. They cannot win. They cannot stop the blessing. All they can do is try to distract you from receiving it. Their entire game plan hinges on you getting tired, giving up, walking away, or self-sabotaging before the shift completes. That is why you are being hit harder now, because you are not who you used to be, and they know it. So what is your response? Do you fold under the pressure, or do you recognize it as confirmation? Do you let the distraction derail you, or do you double down in your focus? Because this is your proving ground. This is your moment to choose clarity over chaos, alignment over anxiety, purpose over pity. You have already outgrown who you used to be. Now the universe is preparing to reveal who you really are. And the enemy knows once that happens, there is no pulling you back. The old tricks will not work. The emotional games will not work. The distractions will fail, because a chosen one who is aligned with the universe, that is a storm, no enemy survives. So remember this, they only plot when the universe prepares. The pressure you feel is not proof that something's wrong. It is proof that everything is about to go right. Let them panic, let them whisper, let them try. Just don't let them distract you. Your blessing is already on the way. You just have to stay ready to receive it. Number 2, they cannot touch what they don't understand. You are the encrypted code they will never decode. Let's make one thing clear. What you carry doesn't fit their blueprint. The power inside you doesn't come from titles, education, approval, or systems. It comes from a place they don't have access to. That is why you confuse them. That is why they copy you and still fail. That is why they try to provoke you, sabotage you, or drain you. Not because you are weak, but because you are a walking glitch in a system designed to control everyone but you. You are not meant to be understood by people who only operate in the physical. Your energy moves differently. It speaks in frequencies, not words. It disrupts rooms before you even open your mouth. And they feel that. That is why the tension rises the moment you walk in. That is why people you barely know feel threatened by your calm, by your silence, by your presence. You are the encrypted signal in a world addicted to noise, and they know they cannot decode you, so they try to dismantle you instead. Understand this. They cannot copy what was divinely coded into your being. They can study your steps, mimic your style, even try to emulate your confidence. but they will always come up short, because what you have is internal, not external. It is rooted in your alignment with truth, with purpose, with the universe itself. It is not something you perform, it is something you are. And that level of authenticity cannot be faked, bought, or duplicated. That is why they obsess. That is why they talk about you when you are not around. That is why they try to lure you into confusion, conflict, or character assassination, because your clarity is their chaos. You staying focused is what keeps them up at night. You walking in peace makes them furious, not because they want to understand, but because they want to contain, and what they don't understand, they fear. You ever wonder why the attacks feel so subtle sometimes? Why it is not always a direct hit, but a small emotional jab here, a strange shift in someone's energy there. A joke that feels more like a shot. That is not paranoia, that is pattern. They are poking, testing, pressing buttons, trying to find your breaking point. But what they don't realize is that you were built from pressure. You were raised in the fire. You didn't learn your strength in peace. You learned it through betrayal, through disappointment, through having to stand when no one else did. So no, they cannot touch you. Not because they will not try, but because you are protected by the very power they cannot comprehend. Your path is coded in a language only the universe understands. That is why it doesn't make sense to them how you are still standing. That is why they are baffled when you bounce back stronger after every attempt to break you. You are the blueprint they weren't given access to. Think about some of the greatest disruptors the world has ever seen. Nikola Tesla's mind was so advanced, society couldn't understand him, so they tried to erase him. Prince didn't just make music, he became a vibration that refused to conform. So they tried to label him weird. Serena Williams didn't just dominate tennis. She did it in a system that wasn't built for her. So they attacked her spirit instead of her skill. Every chosen one has experienced this disconnect. Not because they weren't brilliant, but because their brilliance didn't ask for permission. That is you. Whether you realize it fully or not, you have always been different, and they have always known. Your ideas ahead of your time, your energy unmatched, your vision threatening to the ones still clinging to illusions. That is why people try to keep you boxed in, small, second-guessing, because if you ever stepped fully into who you are, their system breaks. So what is their strategy? If they cannot figure you out, they will label you too much, too intense, too sensitive. They will throw confusion at your clarity, they will weaponize your uniqueness against you, and they will try to convince you that fitting in is safer than standing out. Don't fall for it. You weren't born to be predictable. You were born to be the glitch in their matrix. You are not here to be understood by the masses. You are here to awaken the few who recognize your frequency and are willing to rise with you. You are not here to prove yourself to people who don't even know who they are. You are here to disrupt, to realign, to remind this world that true power never bows to fear. So the next time the enemy shows up confused, threatened, or obsessed, don't shrink. Recognize it for what it is. Proof. Proof that you are moving in something real. Proof that the blessing they cannot see is already vibrating in your direction. Proof that they still don't understand you, and never will. Because you were encrypted by the universe with a purpose no weapon can decrypt. And no matter how hard they try, they cannot touch what they don't understand. They don't need to stop you if they can simply confuse you. This isn't about stopping you, it is about stalling you. It is not about killing your purpose, it is about making sure you never activate it. They don't need chains or cages to hold a chosen one back anymore. All they need is distraction. All they need is a steady drip of confusion to keep your focus shattered and your mind occupied. That is the weapon now, and it is everywhere. In a world that is screaming for your attention every second of the day, silence has become rebellion. Stillness has become strategy. Because the moment you get still, the moment you look up, you begin to hear the whisper of your calling again. You begin to feel the pull of your alignment. And that is what they fear most. So they flood your life with noise, not obvious threats, but disguised ones. Entertainment masked as escapism. Drama dressed up as connection. Negativity served with a smile. Social media feeds you chaos in high definition. Algorithms track your wounds and send you more of the same poison you are trying to heal from. And while you are locked into other people's lives, your own destiny sits waiting for your attention. They understand something most chosen ones haven't realized yet. Your attention is your most sacred currency. Where your focus goes, your power flows. And the moment you let it leak into nonsense, petty drama, irrelevant conversations, meaningless scrolling, you have handed over the very thing they were hoping to steal. Not your energy, not your time, your momentum. It is not just digital noise either. It is people too. Toxic individuals sent to your life not to support you, but to provoke you. People who show up with a smile but operate like distractions. Their words are empty. Their loyalty is temporary, and their presence always seems to coincide with moments when you are finally getting back on track. Coincidence? Never. They were sent like landmines, small, hidden, and waiting to explode the moment you step too close to progress. The enemy knows you are close to something. That is why you are being baited. The arguments that don't matter, the X that resurfaces, the random chaos that shows up just as you start getting clarity. You think that is random. It is precision. They are trying to provoke you into stepping out of alignment, into wasting energy on fires that were never yours to fight. Because if you are caught up in reacting, you are not creating. If you are constantly cleaning up messes, you are not building anything new, chosen one. Ask yourself, how much energy have you lost this year to meaningless battles? How many nights did you spend mentally replaying conversations that were designed to drain you? How many goals did you delay because you were emotionally wrapped up in cycles that served no purpose? That is the deception. They didn't take your power. They didn't have to. They just kept you busy long enough that you didn't realize how powerful you already were. Your power doesn't disappear, but it does sleep when your mind is cluttered. Your calling doesn't vanish, but it does wait patiently while your energy is tangled in distractions, and that is the trap. They don't destroy you. They keep you preoccupied, spiritually delayed, mentally stuck, emotionally drained, alive, but not activated. Think of how masterful this tactic is. The world doesn't even have to come at you with opposition anymore. All it has to do is keep you addicted to attention loops, emotional triggers, and surface-level validation. Keep you chasing dopamine instead of depth. Keep you reacting to noise instead of listening to inner wisdom. If they can distract you long enough, you will destroy yourself without them ever having to lift a finger. Even the greatest minds have fallen to this trap. How many artists, innovators, visionaries were pulled off course by fame, attention, or conflict they should have ignored? You think your blessing is only delayed by external force, but half the time, it is your divided focus that is holding you back, because clarity creates motion. But confusion breeds stagnation, and if they can keep you confused, they win. If they can flood your world with just enough chaos, you will keep questioning yourself instead of moving. You will keep starting and stopping, burning out before you ever hit stride. Not because you are unqualified, not because you are not chosen, but because you gave your power to the noise instead of the mission. But now that you see it, it is time to move differently. It is time to reclaim your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. It is time to stop entertaining energy that doesn't elevate you. It is time to cancel access to distractions that only exist to keep you small. You have a mission that requires full attention, because the blessing they are trying to keep you from, it is already moving toward you. You don't need to beg for it. You just need to be present enough to receive it when it shows up. And that means filtering the noise. That means guarding your focus like sacred ground. That means knowing that not every call deserves an answer. Not every text deserves a reply. And not every voice deserves your ears. You were never meant to be average. You were never meant to be idle. You were meant to shift atmospheres, build legacy, and wake others up just by living aligned. But that will not happen if you stay stuck in distractions designed to delay your awakening. So shut down the noise. Get still, refocus, because now that you know their game, they cannot win. And the moment you take your focus back, everything that was waiting for you begins to move. Number 4. Energy leeches are sent to drain you, not love you. Some people show up in your life like a gift, but they came to drink from your light like it is a fountain. Let's get something straight. Not everyone in your life was sent to bless you. Some came on assignment, not divine, but deceptive. They don't come to uplift, they come to extract. And if you are not awake to it, you will confuse spiritual theft for emotional connection. You will call it love, but it is really feeding. You will call it loyalty, but it is really leeching. These aren't coincidences. These are calculated spiritual attacks, disguised as friendships, relationships, and support. They come like gifts. They say the right things. They mirror your energy just enough to earn your trust. And the moment you let them in, the draining begins. Suddenly, your peace is unstable, your focus is foggy, your motivation is gone. But you cannot explain it because nothing big happened. No blow-up, no betrayal, just slow erosion. One emotional withdrawal after another, until you are a shell of who you were before they entered your life. That is how leeches work. They don't announce themselves. They attach silently. And by the time you notice, they have already fed. You ever wake up feeling tired after a full night's sleep? You ever leave a conversation more confused than before it started? You ever give someone encouragement, time, affection, presence, and leave feeling like you are the one who was emptied? That is not you being lazy, weak, or sensitive. That is spiritual theft in real time. That is your energy being harvested by someone who doesn't have their own. See, when you are chosen, your light has value, even to those who don't respect it. You carry a frequency that disrupts the stagnant and heals the broken. And broken people don't always want healing. Sometimes they want access. Sometimes they want a taste of your peace, your confidence, your stability, not to become better, but to survive one more day off of your essence. And the worst part, some of them don't even know they are doing it. They are so spiritually empty that your light becomes a drug they unconsciously depend on. But others, they know exactly what they are doing. They see your light and treat it like a resource to be mined. They call you when they need clarity. They lean on you when they feel weak. They use your presence like a battery charger and vanish the moment they feel full. You are not crazy for noticing this pattern. You are not wrong for setting boundaries. You are not being heartless by pulling away. You are finally protecting what they were hoping you had keep giving away. You were never meant to be someone's endless power source. You are not a soul vending machine for people too lazy to do their own healing. And yet, you have been conditioned by society, by trauma, even by your own compassion, to believe that being constantly available is a virtue, that always giving is what makes you good. But that lie is killing your alignment, because the truth is, you cannot pour forever from a cup that never gets filled. You are not called to be everyone's lifeline. You are called to walk in purpose, in clarity, in strength, and that requires energy. That requires focus. That requires you to be whole. And if every relationship around you is draining you, interrupting you, pulling from you, you will never have enough left to rise into what is already aligned for you. That is the enemy's tactic. Surround the chosen one with constant emotional debt, so their destiny stays on pause. Don't think it is a coincidence that every time you start gaining momentum, someone starts needing more from you. That when your vision gets clear, an energy vampire shows up with a crisis. That when you finally feel grounded, someone starts accusing you of changing because you stopped being their emotional sponge. That is not bad timing. That is precision sabotage. Look at the patterns. You are not being dramatic, you are being harvested. And your exhaustion isn't just physical, it is spiritual. It is what happens when your energy is constantly extracted and never replenished. It is what happens when you carry light and don't guard it. The truth is, you teach people how to treat your energy by how you manage it. If you keep showing up for everyone, no matter the cost, they will keep expecting it. If you keep allowing access without discernment, they will keep leeching. And if you keep calling it love when it is really manipulation, you will stay stuck in cycles that were only designed to keep you small. But that ends now, because awareness is the beginning of liberation. The moment you see it, you can stop it. The moment you recognize the drain, you can cut the cord. And when you do, you will feel your spirit begin to recharge. You will feel your thoughts return. You will feel your peace anchor back into your body. That is not selfish. That is spiritual hygiene. From now on, protect your energy like it is sacred, because it is. Everyone should not have access to you. Everyone should not be able to call you, text you, cry to you, lean on you whenever they feel like it. That is not love. That is leeching. And as a chosen one, you must protect the current you carry, because the blessing that is on its way needs all of you. Not the drained version, not the distracted version, not the broken version that leeches left behind. It needs the aligned, whole, focused version of you. And if that means saying no more often, pulling back from one-sided connections and cutting cords that were only ever meant to control you, so be it. You were not sent here to be drained. You were sent here to disrupt, to elevate, to lead. And that starts by guarding the very thing they came to steal, your light. Number 5. You were born bright, so they try to blind you. When your light exposes darkness, don't expect applause, expect attack. You didn't earn your light. It was built into you. It wasn't handed to you by people. It was placed there by the universe. From the moment you came into this world, you were already glowing in ways that most couldn't understand. You didn't have to try to shine. You just did. And that is exactly why they have been trying to dim you ever since. See, light doesn't just illuminate, it exposes. And that is the real reason they come for you. Not because you have done something wrong, not because you are arrogant, not because you are too much, but because your energy reveals what theirs is trying to hide. When you step into a room, the masks people wear start to feel uncomfortable. When you speak, the lies around you start to feel unstable. When you rise, the illusions others built their identity on begin to crack. You weren't born just to be liked. You were born to be light, and light doesn't always feel good to those who have lived in the dark for too long. So no, don't expect them to clap for you. Don't expect them to celebrate your growth, your healing, your clarity. Expect resistance. Expect jealousy dressed as silence. Expect passive aggression. Expect weird energy from people who once loved you, but now flinch every time you speak with confidence. That is not shade, it is exposure, and your light did that. When you shine, darkness doesn't disappear, it panics. Every false friend, every odd vibe, every shady shift in someone's behavior after you begin glowing up. It is not in your head, it is not overthinking. It is the result of light hitting shadows. You are not the problem, you are the mirror. And what they see when they look at you is everything they have avoided confronting in themselves. So what do? They try to blind you, they throw shade. Not because it will stop your shine, but because it might distract you long enough to question it. They use sarcasm, subtle digs, backhanded compliments. They accuse you of being full of yourself just because you finally stopped apologizing for being powerful. That is the tactic. Attack the confidence, and maybe the clarity will collapse with it. But here is what they never counted on. Your light doesn't come from ego. It comes from essence. It is not built on validation, so it cannot be torn down by rejection. You shine because you are aligned. You glow because you have survived what was sent to kill you. And now that you have stepped into that light, they know they cannot manipulate you the same way. They cannot guilt you into staying small. They cannot emotionally trap you with fear of being too much, because you have tasted your own power. And once a chosen one gets even a glimpse of that, the game changes forever. Think about it. Why do some people suddenly switch up the moment you start healing? Why do they pull away when you finally find peace? Why do they stop calling when you stop complaining? It is because you stopped being relatable to their dysfunction. You stopped dimming yourself to keep their insecurities comfortable. And the moment you did that, the dynamic shifted. Let's talk about what that shift really is. It is spiritual. Your light becomes unbearable to people who haven't done the inner work. Your presence starts to feel like pressure, and instead of leveling up, they lash out. That is not your fault. That is the friction between frequency levels, and you don't have to lower yours just to keep the peace. Peace built on your suppression is not peace, it is manipulation. There is a reason. History remembers the bright ones. People like Maya Angelou, whose words expose generations of pain and beauty. Prince, whose creativity broke the mold and forced the world to redefine art. Frida Kahlo, whose raw truth on canvas made society confront realities they wanted to ignore. These people weren't always applauded in their time. They were mocked, misunderstood, and in many ways attacked. Why? Because light always meets resistance in a world addicted to shadows. But they kept shining, and that is your blueprint. So if you are feeling the heat right now, if you are seeing people move strange, if you are getting backlash just for being authentic, good. That means you are doing it right. That means your light is real. That means you have stopped bending to keep other people from breaking. That means your presence is starting to shift things, shake things, expose things, and that is exactly what you were born to do. Let them talk, let them twist the narrative, let them misread you. Your light isn't here to be understood. It is here to be undeniable. You are not sent to this planet to be dimmed. You were not chosen to shrink in rooms too small for your calling. You were built to blaze. You were built to ignite. You were built to disturb darkness until it either transforms or flees. And no matter how much they try, they cannot blind what was born bright. They can throw shade, but they cannot touch the source. They can try to distract you, but they cannot rewrite your wiring. You carry light in your bones, and every time you choose to stand in it, another illusion falls apart. So don't flinch, don't fold, don't apologize. Keep shining so hard, they have no choice but to confront themselves or leave. And if they leave, let them, because where you are headed, only those who can handle the heat of your radiance will be able to walk beside you. And for the ones still watching from the shadows, they already know your light isn't going anywhere. The eagle isn't alone because it is forgotten. It is alone because it is flying where others cannot breathe. Let's make this clear. You are not alone. You are set apart. There is a big difference. And if you are still confusing the two, that is exactly why the lesson keeps repeating. You are not in isolation because the universe forgot about you. You are in isolation because the elevation you are being prepared for is too high for the average to survive. Eagles don't fly in flocks. They soar alone. Not because they are abandoned, but because most wings cannot handle the altitude. So stop calling your divine separation loneliness. Stop sulking like you have been rejected, when really you have been reserved. Stop scrolling your life away, wondering why they all left you. Walked away, misunderstood you, betrayed you. It wasn't random. It was surgical. It was designed to strip you of what couldn't go where you are headed. And you are crying over exits when the universe is trying to clear your path. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. Chosen ones confuse solitude with suffering because they forget they are not built like the rest. They have been taught that constant noise equals community, that proximity equals loyalty, that being surrounded equals being supported. And when those illusions fall away, it feels like failure. But that is not failure. That is filtering. The universe is filtering out every distraction, every fake connection, every spiritual leech you would have taken with you into the next level, because what you are about to walk into cannot afford dead weight. Yes, it feels brutal. Yes, it feels unfair. Yes, it feels like silence is screaming at you some days. But what you feel as loss is really refinement. Diamonds aren't formed in noise. Warriors aren't trained in crowds. Visionaries don't receive downloads in chaos. You are being prepared in private because your power is meant to be unleashed in public. So don't you dare mistake this season for abandonment. You think you are alone because they stopped texting, calling, checking in. Good. Their chapter in your life is over. Some of them were just tourists in your journey, not tenants. Some were lessons in disguise. Some were weapons dressed as comfort. If they could walk away, they were never meant to stand beside the version of you that is emerging. Look at every chosen figure in history. They didn't rise through applause. They rose through silence, through exile, through separation. Nelson Mandela wasn't molded in meetings. He was shaped in a prison cell. Maya Angelou didn't become a legend by being surrounded. She wrote her truth in the isolation of pain. Steve Jobs was forced out of his own company before he came back and revolutionized the world. Solitude didn't break them. It birthed them, and you are next. But you are wasting the season because instead of leaning into it, you are fighting it. Instead of listening, you are complaining. Instead of sharpening, you are scrolling. And every time you say, "I am tired of being alone," you are rejecting the very environment designed to unlock the version of you the world needs. You are misreading the assignment, and that delay is on you. You want destiny without discipline. You want elevation without endurance. You want revelation, but cannot sit still long enough to receive it. The universe isn't ignoring you. It is watching to see what you do with the silence. Will you finally face the things you have been avoiding? Will you do the inner work? Will you develop the spiritual stamina to walk into a room and hold your frequency regardless of who is watching? Because the next level isn't for the emotionally needy, it is for the spiritually ready. And that is why you have been pulled back. Not to suffer, but to strengthen. The silence isn't absence. It is construction. The people who disappeared weren't your support system. They were your distractions. The loneliness you feel isn't punishment. It is a spiritual detox. You are not alone. You have just outgrown your last environment. This season is sacred. It is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. And if you misuse it, you will repeat it. You will walk back into connections that were designed to fail. You will reattach to people who drain you. You will beg for the company of those who once celebrated your wounds but cannot handle your healing. You will dim your light just to be seen by people who were never meant to witness your glow. No more of that. You have come too far. You have suffered too much. You have lost too many pieces of yourself to go backward for the sake of feeling connected. This is the season to master your solitude, to use the silence as strategy, to realize that being set apart is not rejection. It is recognition. The universe recognizes what you carry even when you forget. So stop sulking. Stop waiting for someone to come sit in your quiet with you. Embrace it. Let it strip you, shape you, strengthen you. Let it teach you how to protect your energy, how to discern alignment, how to walk with power even when no one is clapping. Because when the time comes for you to rise, you will not be questioned. You will be undeniable, and when people finally ask, "Where did you come from?" you will smile. Not out of pride, but because you will know, I didn't come from the crowd. I came from the silence. Because I wasn't alone. I was being set apart. Number 7. They fear what the universe already declared. They see it in you before you do. And that is why they move against you early. They didn't wait until you were successful. They didn't wait until you had it all figured out. They moved early, strategically, precisely, and relentlessly. Before you even knew what was inside you, they knew. And that is the part you still haven't fully accepted. You weren't cursed. You were targeted because your energy, even undeveloped, screamed threat. From childhood, you felt it, the cold stares, the strange jealousy, the people who were supposed to protect you but turned their backs. The friends who became enemies for no clear reason. That wasn't coincidence. It was recognition. They may not have had the language for it, but they felt something divine hovering around you, and it disturbed their spirit. You hadn't even tapped into your power yet, but its potential was already shaking things around you. See, the universe declares things long before they are visible. Your path was already written. Your destiny was already activated, but while you were still stumbling through self-doubt, others were watching you with envy, suspicion, even fear, because they sensed what you didn't yet know. You were never normal. You were marked, chosen, meant to rise. So what did they do? They tried to clip your wings before you ever learned to fly. They threw trauma at you early. They sent betrayal before you had boundaries. They planted seeds of self-doubt before you could build self-worth. They wanted to break you before you had the chance to awaken, and you have spent years wondering, why me? Why the pain, the isolation, the repeated losses? Why did it seem like you were always the one under fire while others coasted? Here is your answer. Because they feared what you would become if you ever healed, if you ever woke up. If you ever connected with the truth that had always been in your spirit. You weren't attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you are dangerous to everything built on lies, control, and illusion. Your presence disrupts systems. Your voice breaks spells. Your light exposes shadows. So they moved early to condition you, distract you, confuse you. But here is what they never expected. You survived. You absorbed the hits, endured the betrayal, and kept going. And now you are awakening. And that is their nightmare, because once a chosen one realizes they were never cursed, they were just feared, everything changes. You stop explaining, you stop shrinking, you stop apologizing for the gravity in your soul. You step fully into what the universe already declared, and that is when the enemy truly loses. They feared it before, but now they will have to face it, because you are no longer hiding the power they tried to kill. You are walking in it. Number 8. They build traps, hoping you will doubt yourself. If they cannot take your blessing, they will make you walk away from it yourself. They don't always come swinging. Sometimes they come whispering, planting seeds, quiet lies that grow louder over time. I am not ready. Maybe I am wrong. What if I fail? That is the strategy. Get you to question yourself so deeply that you forfeit what is already yours. Not because you weren't chosen, but because they convinced you you weren't enough to carry what you were born for. This is the warfare they will not preach about. It is not fought with fists, it is fought with thoughts. Manipulation begins in the mind, and if they can turn your thoughts against you, they don't have to lift another finger. You will sabotage your own rise. You will delay your own purpose. You will shrink on your own terms, thinking it is wisdom, when really it is fear they installed. That voice telling you you are not ready. That is not your intuition. It is interference. That hesitation that shows up right before the breakthrough, planted, strategic, timed. They have studied you. They know exactly when to strike, and it is always right before your next level. But here is the truth. The moment you silence that doubt, the moment you stop playing small for their comfort, they lose completely. Because confidence is your access code, faith in yourself is the one thing they cannot counterfeit. And when you believe who you truly are, no trap, no lie, no illusion can hold you. You were never the problem the doubt was. And now that you see it, you can destroy it. Stand firm. The blessing is still yours. Just don't hand it over by hesitating. And now you see it clearly. The distractions, the betrayals, the doubt. It was never random. It was war. A calculated attempt to block what the universe already declared over your life. But they failed, because you are still standing, still glowing, still chosen. And now it is time to move with power. Not hesitation. No more questioning. No more shrinking. Lock in, focus, rise. If this message hit your spirit, like, subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments to confirm you are done letting them throw you off. Share this with another chosen one, because the blessing is still coming, and they cannot stop what is already yours.